one question I have to ask you, because if I don't, all the other authors that have been on here will say, well, why didn't they ask Mira Bartók that question? I had to answer it. So, Mira Bartók, have you ever seen a flying saucer, and do you believe in them?
Oh, okay. I have never seen a flying saucer, but I know a couple of people who have seen some really unusual things. In fact, I was at a dinner party once. This was amazing. We were just randomly talking about UFOs. And somebody said, well, I think they were in New Jersey or something. They saw this phenomenon. And somebody at the table who didn't even know that person said, oh my God, I was there at the same time. And they started describing it. And so I've never seen anything, but I've sort of followed that a little bit, that those strange things that those pilots saw. Do you know what I'm talking about? There was like a Norwegian pilot, and there was I think a Swiss, like different pilots saw the same phenomenon. All these lights that look like very fast UFOs going in formation. They all saw them, and they called them in. And this happened maybe 2 years ago. So I totally think UFOs could exist, and I don't see why they wouldn't. I just haven't seen any. But I think to think that we're the only sentient beings in the universe, that's kind of arrogant. That's just my opinion.
Nope, that's mankind's take. We are not only the only ones, we're the best. This is as good as it gets, baby.
I think we're just like a really tiny little speck in the giant universe. And I just think there's so much, so I don't know. I don't have any like emotional feelings about aliens. Like I'm scared of them, or I love them, or I just think that it's highly possible. And I think there's a lot we don't know and understand about consciousness. And we know such a small amount of what's out there that I think anything's possible. So that's my take on it.
I 100% agree. I think that when people dismiss it, all I can hear is the same confidence with which people must have said, the earth is flat. We all know this.
Right.
Why would you think otherwise? Okay, last question, as promised. And this is my catch-all for all the things that I should have asked but didn't think to. Is if there was one bit of advice you could go back and give yourself, or that you want all the writers listening to hear, that would have made a significant difference for you, would have made things easier, what advice would you give them and yourself?
I feel like the advice I would give is not for writing, but is in general. Because I feel like the way I've approached writing is the way I wish I had approached visual art. When I was, let's put it this way, I missed my foundation. I didn't get the figure drawing, the rigorous drawing, the perspective, all those things that you learn when you do a foundation program. And then I went to a very experimental art school, and my one bit of advice is that learn the foundation of something, like in terms of writing, read the classics. Learn. You learn so much by reading. Learn your craft. And learn it well so you can break the rules, and that was my problem with art. I'm paying for it now because my ideas far exceed my technical ability to execute them. And I see this with some young musicians I know who their whole thing is they want to sound lo-fi, and they don't really want to learn their instrument that well because it sounds like they're too produced. Well, I'll tell you, 10, 20, 30 years from now, you're going to have musical ideas that develop at such a rate, and you will not have the ability to make them happen. So learn your craft and read the classics, but also, what else? That's a real big one for me. I'm really big on being kind, and also somebody who's below you on the ladder, pull them up and push them forward. You know, I can't tell you how many people have said to me, like, why? Like, I used to run this blog for about 5 years, sort of helping people with opportunities in the arts, grants, residencies, and so on. I've had people say, why are you helping people with something that you yourself would apply for? And I don't understand that philosophy. Help everybody shine. It helps you too. And those people you were nasty to on your way up, well, they might be your editors someday, or they might be the people who are deciding on something big, or they might, I don't know. It's just be kind and be humble. And also one more thing, and this I see in a lot of young writers, is this emphasis on their, like, I'll use one woman as an example. I met her at I did some kind of stint at a university. I go and read and blah blah. And the woman is so obsessed with being a writer, and she has her she's always marketing and promoting herself constantly, and award-winning this and award-winning that, when she's self-published one book. And there's nothing wrong with self-publishing, but what she spends so much time doing that and being a personality, when is that really you should be focusing on writing, on language, on telling a story, and making yourself invisible, because it has nothing to do with you. It's your story. It's your poem. It's the music. You have to disappear. And when people spend and that's really hard to tell people who are so obsessed with social media, and they're trying to create this perfect life on Instagram and blah, blah, blah. And, when people say, you wrote a memoir, it's all about you. I go, no, it actually, if you write a really good memoir, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with everybody. So I think, and one last bit of advice, write to a place of compassion. One thing I love, who said this? Annie Dillard, the nature writer, said this about writing memoir, but we're writing about family. You could apply it to anything. Writing about family is an art, but it doesn't have to be but it's not a martial art. So those are my little tidbits. We'll probably think of more later, but there you go.
Oh, of course. The best ideas always come the moment after we stop recording, and then you think of all the things you would have said. So when Wonderling 2 comes out, come back and say them all.
Okay. Oh, most importantly, get a pet. Having a pet's really important. Having a little creature.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed that your delightful, lovely little cat crept in there earlier and was doing all kinds of funny little things. Kind of went behind the bookshelf.
Those of you listening to the podcast, that's the kind of entertainment you're missing by not checking us out on YouTube.
I know, really.
You can see special appearances by Mabel. Once in a while, I think my wife shows up in the background. All kinds of great stuff.
We have a new character named Mabel.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. She's not a cat, though.
Well, not yet. But
Not-
now that you've seen the actual
I
Mabel,
know.
I'm assuming.
Actually, put the seed of an idea in there. So